ladies and gentlemen. My name is Rajneesh Mahajan. I look after operations for InOrbit malls across the country. We have 6 of them operational in different cities. Mr. Gopalan has requested me to just give myself, introduce to you from my background of other assignments. He insisted, so I am doing that. Otherwise, I was trying to skip it. I have been a retailer. I have been a retail real estate consultant, and for last 5 years, I have been a developer or the employee of a developer, so to say. Happened to spend nearly 5 years in all 3 assignments that I have done. So I have been a retailer 5 years. I was opening coffee shops and I ran coffee shops. I was part of Barista story right from 3 stores to 150 stores during my tenure. I started retail real estate consultancy with Cushman & Wakefield. They were in real estate consultancy. The retail division was started by me. I worked there as a consultant for 5 years and worked with various brands in their expansion strategy across country. And for last 5 years, I've been working with InOrbit, leasing spaces, operating spaces, and marketing the malls. So that's about me. Just to briefly tell you why Kumar wanted me to introduce myself, because he felt that I represent all 3 mindsets of how and what happens in the backgrounds of the boardroom, because I have been exposed to that. I welcome with me the panelists here. Balaji, who is from Naidu Hall. They have 14 stores in Chennai and Coimbatore and rest of the Tamil Nadu. Sorry, I'm meeting them first time, so I'm not very well versed with their backgrounds. Bipin is an old friend and been in industry in retailer side as well as now on the developer side. He was with Pyramid many years, and thereafter he's joined Provoke and looking after their real estate business. Is presently running a mall in Aurangabad and constructing a couple of more. Bravery Award for developing more malls in this country. Mr. Sunil is from fruits, nuts and spices. Sorry, my mistake. They have good 22 stores in Coimbatore and Chennai, and a business which is run in immense pressures from government, because they import eatables and there are so many regulations on them that it is literally eating nuts. And Mr. Rafiq Seth, who runs a franchise of a couple of brands. I believe he has 14-15 stores in the city of Chennai, largely running it out of his own stores. So even if he don't make money out of retail, he is expecting some capital appreciation and be a landlord to give spaces later. But I think he is doing very well. It will not come to him to make money that way. He would rather make money being a retailer. But there is a diverse experience sitting on this panel to discuss. When we talk about retail real estate, I think it has always been started. It has always been started with one punchline, which is called location, location, and location. I think that may not remain much relevant, because it is going to be called click, click, and maybe some location somewhere. The way we see valuations, the way we see the revenue top lines, and the way we see the whole earlier session, we realized that it's no more customer paying to the retailer, it is retailer paying to the customer as well. You know, you're dropping the product at the doorsteps and with a cash reward. So the games have changed. And on this note, I would like to ask Mr. Sunil, what does he see happening in this game between e-commerce and so offline, online?
See now, if we see the realistic industry today, about say 10-15 years back, this was applied for the brick and mortar model, where everybody was talking about the market share. everybody was talking about how to capture the market first, and then we will talk about profits. This was there about 10-15 years back. And today, after 15 to 20 years of operations, I have been seeing most of the organized retail sector, the corporate backed up, still not making money. So this is a big concern. And today, this is also applying towards the e-commerce business also. Everybody is talking the valuation part. Like tomorrow, yesterday just they say $7 billion the valuation. And today bringing in somebody 1 billion and somebody else said $2 billion. So it's fine, but end of the day I'm asking you, do you have a business model which is intact, where end of the day you know that okay, after 3 years or say after 5 years or maybe 7 years you will make the bottom line? I have my concern even in those online business also, because I have seen 15-20 years back saying this into that retail industry, brick and mortar, they told the same thing. But now I have a huge concern because the valuations of the figures is going on a very higher side. So I think this we need to take note on that.
It's a very interesting point. Sorry. It's a very interesting point. Now, we have been saying, is e-commerce sustainable because people are losing money and they are giving discounts to acquire customer? And what he is saying is traditional retail making money. They both are losing money. So what's the big deal about e-commerce not making money? Am I right? Is that what you're saying? So it's a very different take, you know, it's a completely new view that when traditional retail itself is not making money and we are saying we should expand, and every CEO or an owner of business is saying I should have 100 stores, I should have 200 stores, I should have 1,000 crore top line or 5,000 crore top line. So if you read the yellow pages, it's about number of stores, it's about top line. And if you read about e-commerce, it's again about top line and is again about acquiring customers. Bottom line, both are losing money. The traditional retail has lost maybe much longer. The e-commerce is losing in last few years. So there is not much, but there is a difference. In e-commerce, they are acquiring customer by giving discount. What's your take on that? The delivery at doorstep with a cash reward.
No, see, this is the discussion we had, that they say that they have a plan and in over 3 or 5 years they will stop giving the discounts, and after that they'll start making money. This is what everybody says. In fact, this was the same thing which they spoke about the brick and mortar model also. They told that, okay, let us first acquire the customers and then we'll slowly start making money over a period of time. Even there the discounts happens. It's
so you're referring to end of season discounts or those discounts?
No, it's end of the season discounts or like the iStores format, hypermarket format, where the discount is the entire year.
So there is no difference. There is as per him, there is no difference. And that's a very interesting thought. I have not thought of it in last so many years that we have been debating about e-commerce. Rafiq, what you feel? You have been running the franchisee, which means the brand and the product is owned by somebody. You have been the front end where real estate plays a big role, and you are servicing the customer. What differences you are facing in customer preferences, and why you feel the traditional retail or the offline retail will remain relevant in future?
To begin with, footfalls have reduced drastically because there are so many more options. The choices for the customer has grown immensely. Large format stores have taken away from traditional businesses, unless traditional businesses have also grown in pace with the departmental stores. It's a bit of a transition just now from traditional to modern day retailing. It's going through some changes. Some of us who have inherited business from a legacy are continuing to run our operations in the same way, but we're recognizing some changes now and we're responding to them. At least the next generation is responding to them. It's a bit of a transition just now as we speak. It's not looking good. Margins are getting squeezed, operations are getting expensive, rentals and power bills are doubling and tripling, and customer footfalls are dropping. Ticket price is going up, but the customer footfalls are dropping, which means with the ticket price going up, there is less units being sold, not making it very attractive to our suppliers.
So footfalls are dropping, margins are getting less, rentals are going up. So where do we head? What you see happening?
There's no support from the government. There's no incentive to employ people.
You
On
know,
the contrary,
I just take a minute here. In one of the conference, the industry minister was part of the panel discussion, and people asked why retail is not, designated, recognized as an industry. He said you should feel happy that it is not an industry, and there is no minister of retail in the government. And he said you should be happy about it, and I felt that it is right, because if government is going to control how insurance is to be sold, if government is going to control how telecom or telecom operator is going to charge, if government is going to control how power rates have to be decided and petrol and diesel retail has to be decided, then you may not sell the shirt at an X that you sell today. The government may say, like they say pharmacy, why are you selling it at 100X? So today the retailer sells a product at 3X, 2.5X. They may say it is prohibitive profit. You should only sell it at 1X. So do you really need government support?
of course, we need government support. Everybody could do with government support. Incentives, little regularization or relaxation of policies on the PF and ESIs and support. Just so employing people, let there be some incentive for 100 employees, 200 employees, 500,000. Give them some tax breaks. Facilitate parking areas, provide a good traffic environment for people to be able to access and exit easily. There's so much that they can do, and recognize this industry and give the much needed support that is needed, because it is employing quite a lot of people as we speak, and there is absolutely no support from the government.
See, I take the last part of your statement, which you said road access infrastructure. Bipin, how critical is it to have a government support in and around a large development where you have 600,000, 700,000 feet of retail real estate created? And how critical is it to have that component? And how you have seen the local bodies participating in it, or they are not participating in it?
Yeah, I think it's all about collaboration.